I am like inside. I purposefully did not outside because we've been having issues when I do it outside. Can I now? Sorry to make you come back. My light is getting off here. Can everybody see me okay? I look very shiny. I'm not trying to. All right. Sorry, I look like a ghost. There, how's that? Okay, can everybody see me okay? Sorry, we lost all of you. We had such a great group on in the last session. I have no idea why we lost connection, but while you're all coming back, hi everybody. Go to the last video to see everybody in whatever city and country they came from. No sound? Okay. Can you hear me? All right, so Daniela has no sound, and you're so sweet, Amanda Stuppet. Amazda. So you can hear me okay. Daniela, just maybe log off and then come back on again. Sometimes that helps. Okay. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Okay. So back to what I was saying, Colleen Patrick-Goudreau here. You can find all of my work at joyfulvegan.com, including the story. Well, you'll find the story on my YouTube channel about the beef restaurant that was using my photo, which was really disconcerting. I don't know how long they were using the photo for. I tell the whole story, and I tell Linus's story. He's the steer who's on my lap in that photo, an iconic photo at this point. And I've told his story before, and I think his story is a really important one to tell of the victims of the dairy industry, particularly the male calves in the dairy industry, and the female calves who lose their babies. So I tell the story of Linus in that video, and I tell the story of the restaurant who was using this photo. And now that it's, I can tell you that you can go to the video to see exactly the caption. The caption was awful. It was just so awful. It said something like, try a little tenderness. Like not referring, I mean, this kind of double entendre of that photo, which is just this really beautiful moment between me and this other individual. And of course, tenderness referring to the language used around meat and steaks. And so, so it was pretty awful to see that caption being used and that photo being used. And I was pretty, just really disturbed by it. And the second I found out about it, I wrote to the restaurant. And yeah, it's pretty twisted. I mean, photos are all around the interwebs, and I understand that people can make really careless. I mean, it was really careless. It was really careless. It was really insensitive to just grab a photo, not know the source of it. Frankly, if they looked a little harder, they would have found that photo in a million animal rights websites and blog posts, and realized that it actually was a real person with a real rescued steer, and not, potentially not have used it. So they were very careless and sloppy. Stacy, luckily, a follower of mine wrote to me and told me this. I had no idea. And they're, I think, in the UK. Well, the restaurant's definitely in the UK. They're in London. But I am so grateful, and I'm going to make sure I write to the person who let me know about this, for telling me about this, because I had no idea. And I have no idea how long it's been up for. I've seen that photo used on a couple other animal, not animal rights, but animal exploitation websites. And this was the one that was, I think, the most egregious. Kathleen, I don't think it was contrived. I really believe it was careless. I really, in my heart of hearts, believe that they were unaware of the source of the photo, that they didn't know it was a steer who lives at Farm Sanctuary, who was rescued from the dairy industry, and that I was an animal activist. I don't think so. I mean, that's my opinion. You can go listen to the whole story and draw your own conclusions. My perspective is they didn't know, but it doesn't matter. They were still careless, and they still used a photo that they didn't have permission to use. And even though there wasn't copyright information on the photo, if there isn't copyright information on the photo, then unless it's clearly in the public domain, you don't use that photo. So it was, they wrote to me right away after I wrote to them, and I appreciated that. But they did say that it was going to take until like September 3rd or something to get the photo down. And of course, said I want it down as soon as possible, but they were on vacation and apparently their webmaster was on vacation. And I said I would agree to that. I mean, just like get it down as soon as possible. And, and pushed back a little bit, but was patient and I think pretty tolerant about the whole situation. And today they wrote to me and sent me an email, and they put a public apology, not a public apology, a public apology on their website, and the photo is down. And there's some other photo up. They explain why they used this other photo. You're very sweet, Brooke. Thank you. So the photo is now off the website, and I'm going to read to you. You can. I didn't announce the name of the. Please tell me it's still there. Okay, I'm afraid to leave because if I leave this, I might not see you again. So I'm going to not go to another website. But I will tell you that there is a public apology out on their website, and they said that they ordered one of my books, Vegan's Daily Companion, for their library. And that they were mortified, and they, apologized profusely, and then that's the best you can hope for. I mean, it really is the best you can hope for. It is illegal to use a photo without anyone's permission, Sylvia. The question is, how much can it be enforced? And I've spoken with someone who's a litigation attorney, and just because out of curiosity. I mean, once someone takes a photo down, sure, if I were some ridiculous celebrity and had gobs of money that I wanted to waste on a litigation suit, yeah, I mean, I could say that you hindered my brand, you hurt my brand, I could really use that. But once a photo is taken down and the damage isn't apparent, it's pretty hard to prove. So I'm not looking to press charges. I just don't want my photo being used to promote animal products. It's just really gross. Joey, thanks for your voice and a huge heart. Oh, thank you, Joey. Joey in Australia, right? Is that right? Thanks, Dustin. Thanks. Well, I try to be a model for compassion. It is what I try to live by in all ways. And I do think it's important to give people the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I guess there were other ways to handle it. I could have had a whole campaign go where people wrote to them and screamed at them and then give vegans a bad name. So that was one option. And after I put it out on YouTube, after I put it on YouTube, there are a lot of comments there, and I appreciate everyone's heartfelt response. But one that I really appreciated, a couple people wrote on YouTube saying, what's the name of this restaurant? Let's just write them emails and tell them how hideous this is and how awful this is. And I wrote back to that comment. There were two. And I said, I really, just out of respect for me, please don't do this, because I just don't think it's the best reaction. Let me give them the time to take it down like they said they would. And, I just don't really think, vegans, and we can be indignant, writing, a whole bunch of us writing to them, telling them how awful they are was really going to make a difference. And frankly, if anything, I think it would have been more of a hindrance. So, I know they ordered the book. They said they did. I believe them. You never know. I mean, it's true. And I did write to them when, in one of the exchanges we had, I did say, happy, because they actually talked about how the fact that they talked about the fact that they have vegan options on their menu. I looked at their menu online. There don't seem to be a lot of edible options on their menu. But, so I did say to them, I'm happy to give you recipes. I'm happy to help veganize anything you want. So, he hasn't taken me up on it. He knows where to find me. That book, Vegan's Daily Companion, does have recipes. So yeah, you never know what can come of it. Brooke says, I'm a flight attendant and I'm struggling on how to live vegan when I constantly travel and I'm never in one place. Sure, Brooke, I actually have a lot of information on travel in my podcast, in my Food for Thought podcast, and in my book, 30-Day Vegan Challenge. So you might want to check those out and see if any of that information helps you, but definitely in the Food for Thought podcast, which is free. Jill, hi Jill. Thank you. Well, I think so. I mean, if effective is measured by the fact that it was taken down, right? I mean, that's what we want. What was my goal? And this is a question we can ask ourselves in all situations when we're dealing with conflict with people is, what's the goal? I've often said about advocacy, do you want to be right or do you want to be effective? Well, in this case, I was both because I was in the right and they were in the wrong, but that didn't have to be proved. Like that was already clear. So what was the next thing? What was the effective part was getting it down, and it's down. They did it within a week. I think it was just less than a week, and they made it sound like it was going to be a lot longer than that. So, good. Awesome. Yeah. Well, yeah, big picture, right, Delphina? Like big picture. I can't take responsibility for the actions of every vegan on the planet, and I won't take responsibility for that because we're as diverse as the general population. However, if I have a say in the matter, and I did in this case, I did not think that vegans launching a campaign against this restaurant was going to be the most effective course of action. So that's why I chose not to put the name of the restaurant in the video. However, I think I put the name inadvertently when I was showing the graphic of the email response I got from them. Whatever. I mean, and other people just typed in the caption that I had shown because I showed a part of the website without showing the name of it. And, you can find it pretty easily. But I purposefully did not show the name of the restaurant because I wasn't looking to launch a campaign against them. Brooke, I made your panzanella for my meat eating family and they loved it. Of course they did because panzanella is awesome. Thanks, Brooke. Joey says, you promote the vegan compassionate message out there with such accessible and friendly tone. If you had to give us vegans one tip on how to help other people move towards a vegan lifestyle, what's your top tip? How do we come across effectively and compassionately? Great question, Joey Joe. And I think that gets at the heart of what I do and what I try to convey. And if I were to whittle it down into one tip, my tip would be to speak to the compassion that's in people. I really think that's going to be the most effective thing, not only in terms of it being true that people are compassionate even if they're contributing to cruelty, because cognitive dissonance is a powerful thing, but also because in terms of what is proven to be effective in terms of behavior change, it's not statistics, it's not these big, huge numbers that are so overwhelming to people that they actually can't even wrap their brains around them, so it doesn't mean anything to them. It's not making people feel guilty at all. It's actually, helping people realize that they're already doing something. They just need to keep doing more of it. So when you speak to the compassion that is inside of people, I've said this a million times and I'll say it a million more. I do not believe people who are contributing to, inadvertently in the sense of buying meat and dairy and eggs are like sadistic people. Like, I don't believe that. We're just all, really encouraged in so many ways to have cognitive dissonance around the animals that we're paying to be hurt. So that would be my number one tip, is to speak to the compassion that is in people already and remember what it was like for us, because before I was vegan, I was a compassionate person. It was blocked and it was asleep, the full compassion, but I was compassionate. So I think that's what I would say. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, it was annoying. I just had to really trust. I just really had to trust. What else do we have here? I'm just looking. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Lizzie. Definitely check it out. So again, everything's at iTunes. Well, the podcast is at iTunes, joyfulvegan.com, where you can get the free Joyful Vegan Starter Guide. I'm selling signed copies of my books. We're working on the new website right now. So lots of really fun things happening. Thank you, Lizzie. Awesome, Brooke. Yeah. Maybe one day they'll turn into a vegan restaurant thanks to their photo mistake. You never know, yeah. You never know. Robin says, I think it was handled professionally on both sides. And in this case, I think planting seeds was more likely with the approach you took. And that maybe open lines of communication. Indeed. And Kat is recommending Happy Cow to Brooke. Indeed, that is also a fantastic suggestion. So what else do we have? Yeah, the new website's going to be pretty. Thanks, Megan. Is it Megan or Megan? And non-vegans are threatened by vegan standards. And Valerie, the horror is concealed so well by the industry. Sure. And Joey Joe is, what's the word I'm looking for? Summarizing, speak to their compassion first and foremost. Thank you, Colleen. You always see the best in people. I need to do that a bit more. Yeah, that's it works for me, you know? And again, that doesn't mean I don't get frustrated and I don't get sad and I don't want it to end yesterday and I don't, I sneer. I was walking, I just took a walk and there's charred flesh in the air because it's summertime and people are, burning flesh. What else can I say? Making their hot dogs and hamburgers. And it's upsetting. My neighbors, I can smell it when they grill, right? But I also really like my neighbors and I really think they're good people. They're also, they're getting the same messages that we all get. And, I'm writing about this in the book I'm working on right now, and I'm really, really excited about it, where, it's kind of like, it's basically the meat paradox, right? It's people who care about animals, but who also love meat, right? We are a nation or a culture. I mean, I'll say, just all around. I mean, the studies I'm looking at are US based, but we are a nation who loves animals, who cares for so many companion animals. We spend so much money on our companion animals. When you look at surveys and polls about how people feel about how farmed animals should be treated, everyone believes they should not be treated with violence and cruelty. And yet that's inherent in the industry. So that's that. And then over here you have, 50 billion, upwards of 50 billion land and aquatic animals being killed every year for human consumption. So how do you reconcile that? How do we reconcile that? Well, there are two options. When you're doing something that you're uncomfortable with, that's not in alignment with your values, you either change your behavior or you change the way you look at what you're doing. Like, those are the two things you can do, right? So you either change your behavior, which, like those of us who have done 30-day vegan challenge for anyone who's interested in changing their behavior, because I get that changing your behavior, it can be difficult. So that's why I help with the transition. Or you alter your perception. You alter your perception of your behavior, or you alter your perception of the victims of your behavior. And in this case, when we look at animals, especially those who are raised for human consumption, as less deserving of our considerations, of being food and categorizing them as food animals, justifying that they're here for us, believing the labels that say that they're treated humanely. I mean, when we shift our perception, it enables us to reconcile that conflict. And so how do we get through that? And that really, I think, is the big question about, for us as advocates, is how do we help people step back and alter their perception, so that it's behavioral change that they recognize as being the most effective thing they can do. Does that make sense? So, Brooke, unfortunately, the 30-day vegan challenge doesn't have distribution right now. So you can get it on Amazon or you can buy it from me directly. It's actually, I think it's at Barnes & Noble. No, it's not. Is it at Barnes & Noble online? At some point it was. Maybe just the ebook is on Barnes & Noble online. So Amazon and me directly is the best way to get it. But I'm hoping to change that too. It's one of the things I'm working on. Yeah, Delphina, it's really hard. It's really hard. Thanks, Marcos. Thanks, Lee. Andrea, I have podcast episodes on that very scenario, so go listen to the podcast. And I talk about it in the 30-day vegan challenge as well, in a chapter called Living Among Meat Eaters. That's the title of a couple of different parts of a podcast episode. There's a series of podcast episodes on that. So it's called, what is it called? Living in a Mixed Household. So you can go check that out either in the 30-day vegan challenge and also in the Food for Thought podcast. And hello, Gary, my friend. We can witness the compassion of most meat eaters in other realms. Thus, they have the potential. Indeed, my friend. Gary, go follow Gary, everyone. He's one of the most effective spokespeople and advocates for animals. V-Burger. I love V-Burger in Lower Manhattan. Amazing vegan burgers. Oh, good to know. I'm going to have to check that out. I've been making my own burgers. I am on a kick. Yes, and I saw the billboard, that beautiful billboard, that digital billboard in Times Square. That is incredible. I was a little wary because sometimes I see billboards messages and I would have phrased them differently. So I was nervous about what it was going to say, but no, I think it's really lovely. It's really beautiful. I watched the video today. And what else do we have? Joyful vegans, yay, 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 yay! Can't wait to see the website. Great. So I have been. Thanks, Rachel. Sorry, I'm looking back at other things so I can just get all these questions answered, and then I'll come back to what I was saying. Lenore says, I need to understand this so that I will not dislike meat eaters because that won't help anything. It's true, Lenore. I mean, listen to my podcast. You know, I talk about this a lot. See if that helps. See if there's episodes that are appealing to you. Paola says, how can I host you as a speaker? You can contact me through my website. My speaking assistant, her email address is on the website. We can talk about that. Danielle says, is the 30-day vegan channel available in Spanish? Not yet. Believe me, it's on my list. It is on my list. And Rachel, thank you. Jim, how can I tell if something's fried and fat? And thank you for being a beautiful, positive journey. Thank you, Lisa. Oh my gosh, so many comments and questions. And Brooke is endorsing the podcast. Thanks, Brooke. And Megan, thanks for asking about my mom. I will tell you in a second. And love your work and your energy, Colleen. I hope to meet you one day. Thank you for all you do. Stay awesome. Same to you, Joey. I hope to be in Australia soon. And is it worth debating with people online about veganism? My answer to that is only if they're interested in having a conversation or a dialogue. Only if they genuinely seem interested in knowing the answer to a question they may have. But once it starts getting back and forth into debate where again, people just want to be right rather than effective, then I think it's a lost cause and it's pointless. That doesn't mean I don't think we shouldn't put comments on articles or blog posts that are favorable to the animals. I do think that's really helpful. What I'm opposed to is just back and forth debate where nobody's really listening to each other and no one's really making any thought changes. So that's kind of how I feel about online debates. I'm definitely going to come to Australia. Don't you worry. You had fajitas out of the book. I love it. So, yeah, so I've been making I've been making these seitan burgers. They're brown lentil and seitan burgers and sausages that are out of this world. And I'm perfecting the recipe so I can share it with you. But I've been eating them every day. Like my husband and I have been grilling them and they're the best. So I'll share those with you. So I know if I served these burgers at like a really heavy animal meat based barbecue, I know these people would not know the difference and they would be thrilled. So I'm excited. I do need an assistant, believe me. I need a lot. I do. But thank you for asking about my mom. She's actually in a physical rehab facility right now. She's having trouble walking. Her gait is really off since her stroke a couple years ago. It's kind of been declining. And so she's in a physical rehab place right now. And as soon as she gets out, I'm going to go there to New Jersey and help with all the things that I want to help with. I just don't want to go when she's just getting therapy a couple times a day. Her boyfriend is there with her. I want to just make the best use of my time going out there. So once she's out, I can go and I think I'd be a better help. But I talk to her every day and she's doing well and her spirits are high. And thank you for asking. Yes, I'm excited about the burger. I'll share it with you. Blossom, Natalie is asking Brooke if she's tried Blossom. Blossom is fantastic, Brooke. I agree with Natalie. I would love to come to Brazil, Marcos. That's also on my list. Oh, look at Dana. Okay, so Dana says, I would love to be able to pretend people are basically good like you do. I watch your videos and hope some of it rubs off on me. Well, Dana, what I would say to you is it's not pretend. So that's where you'll get this, hopefully you'll get the switch because so what I would say to you is if it's really challenging for you, pretend now. Act as if they are. And in you doing that and talking to people and interacting with people as if they are, you will eventually believe it. So don't wait to pretend because what this is authentic. But what you can do right now is pretend that you believe it, if that's what you're saying. So keep doing genuinely good, and I think you will eventually believe it, because I do believe it's true. Ben says, I'm already planning Thanksgiving for my family gathering. Only my sister and I are vegan. Do you have holiday recipes online or in one of your books? Definitely. All of the recipes in the vegan table, there's whole sections on holiday meals. That's the book I would recommend if you're really interested in. I have stuffing, I have stuffed squash, I have mashed potatoes, caramelized onion mashed potatoes, roasted garlic mashed potatoes, like I said, stuffed butternut squash, roasted Brussels sprouts with pistachios. I mean, there's just lots of really good recipes in that book, The Vegan Table. So of all of them for a Thanksgiving menu, a holiday menu, that's what I would recommend. Thanks for asking. Autumn, thank you, Autumn. Thank you so much. Paola says, do you talk to, say, feminists or other groups about the ways veganism relates specifically to their strife? Is it a good tactic? You know, I don't tend to specialize in that. I mean, I do think my message is all encompassing, and I do, it is all inclusive, of course, because these issues these are all connected issues. So I do in that sense, but I wouldn't say that that's the forefront of my message. The forefront of my message is compassion, that I believe is shared by all groups and all individuals. So yeah, I mean, if you have more specific questions on that, I would encourage you to just write to my assistant and kind of give us an idea of what you're thinking about, and we'll see what we can do. Lisa says, any new vegans on a weight loss journey or struggle, inbox me, please. Okay, that's Lisa. When your neighbors are grilling meat, sneak over when they go in the house and replace them on the grill with seitan burgers. That's a great idea, Valerie. Well, I do, like, we have parties all the time, and our neighbors eat our food all the time, eat our food, eat food that is edible and delicious and wonderful, and everybody loves it. I had some great conversations at the last happy hour that was at our neighbor. I keep whispering because my windows are open and I just heard them outside. They hosted the most recent happy hour, and I had quite a few conversations with some of our other neighbors about veganism. I mean, a lot of conversations. Again, I kind of plant seeds and I don't get attached, because if I did, I would be so anxious all the time to know if what I said had an influence on anybody, and I would be miserable, and then I would resent them for not making the changes that I think they should make based on our conversations. So I try to keep it all in perspective, and what does give me hope is that there are many people who are looking for this information and looking to make a change. What is it? I'm trying to kind of in my head very quickly estimate. I would say close to 100,000 people have taken the 30-day vegan challenge. I mean, that gives me a lot of hope. And I know from years of doing this work how many people have been influenced to become vegan from my work, but also just in general. So that's where I just put my energies, is like to the people who are already interested. And then in the meantime, I plant seeds and hope that they'll germinate. Mary says, what do you say to people who say that they don't need to hear that a meal was not cruel because they don't want to feel bad? I would say, Mary, to them, I would probably touch their arm and say, I know it does feel bad because I felt the same way, but me closing my eyes doesn't make it go away. I realized that when I realized when I was closing my eyes because I thought that would make it go away, that's not what's happening. It was just perpetuating it. And I wanted to know that I could do something to not feel bad. And since becoming vegan, I don't feel bad. And that's been like the shift that happens when you become vegan. So I would say something like that very truthfully conveys what my experience was, and that you can identify with feeling bad. And then I'm going to take just a couple more because I'm starving and my husband's 10 minutes from home. He just texted me and I have to go make dinner. And so very quickly, let me see what we have here. Joey Joe, when do you think the vegan movement lifestyle will reach critical mass? Wouldn't it be great if everyone on the planet went vegan in the next 5 or 10 years? No, you're not overly optimistic, and let's just hold that. So let's hold that thought, Joey Joe, because I do think I think we're nearing a tipping point. I think we are. Hello, Lily from Vancouver. I started going vegan after watching the documentary Cowspiracy and discovering the 30-day vegan challenge on their website, and I really enjoy it now. Not always easy, as I'm gluten intolerant and French, but I'm not regretting my choice. Thank you for your hard work. Wonderful, Lily. Thank you so much. Yeah, Kara, I do talk about that in my podcast episode as well. We evolved to eat meat. I know. I mean, it's just one of the excuses that people use. And my first vegan dish, says Jill, was your massaged kale salad in my first vegan book, Vegan's Daily Companion. It was a great intro and delicious. Wonderful. Yes, Vegan Table's definitely on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all those places. The only book that's not in all stores in terms of distribution is the 30-Day Vegan Challenge, because I self-published it. And so... Thank you so much for all you do. You're welcome, Beckett. For dinner, I'm gonna go grill some corn, because we just keep getting corn because it's just corn season and it's wonderful. And probably just grill up some of the burgers and sausages we have left. And give kisses to the babies, because Charlie just came. And Charlie is hungry and he wants his dinner. Don't you? He's very naughty today. He stayed out longer than I wanted him to. Okay? Okay. All right, I'm gonna go feed all my boys and my girl. Brightus, so good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. This is ridiculous. We need to get together. Okay, thanks everybody. Mwah. Have a wonderful night, and go watch the video. Go get your Joyful Vegan Starter Guide. Go get the 30-Day Vegan Challenge. Get the Vegan Table. Get the Joy Vegan Baking. Vegan's Daily Companion. What am I missing? Color Me Vegan on Being Vegan. And go check out the podcast, Food for Thought. Have a wonderful night, everyone, and thanks for all your huge hearts and just all your love. I appreciate it. From everywhere. You guys are amazing. You're everywhere. Yes, my kitties are very cute. They're very cute. They are. Michiko's right over there. Can you see her? She's right there. And Charlie's right in front of me. You are beautiful, Rightus. Okay.